Hey kiddos, I'm Neon.
I'm Glitz, they them pronouns,
And we're your Decora daddies. We've been wanting to make this video for a really long time, and we're so excited to be able to talk to you all about one of our favorite topics, how to host a meetup.
Specifically, how to plan an accessible, inclusive meetup, because meetups are for everyone. Helping everyone to feel welcome is essential to how we organize meets.
So a lot of the information that we cover in this video is actually in a Google Doc that we wrote, which we'll link below. And also we put chapters in so that you can reference different parts later.
A little disclaimer before we get into it. This is just what we found works for us, and we encourage you to find what works for you. Experimentation is great for learning and growth. We've both been at this a really long time, but we still even find ways that we can improve.
First, a little bit about us. We are the hosts of Harajuku Meet PDX, which is a J-Fashion meetup group in Portland, Oregon. We founded the group in December of 2023, and we have meets every few months.
Both of us have many years of organizing experience, mostly within queer and activist spaces, and we bring that lens to everything that we do. We are anti-capitalist and people-centered, so our meets might look a little bit different than others, but all meets are fun and awesome.
What are meetups for? What are meetups for? I'll give you a second to answer. Well, probably whatever you said is correct, but there is one answer that's the most correct, and that is building community, not promoting you or your friends' brands, or making content, or trying to become popular. Some of that might happen, but that's not what you should be focusing on when you're planning your meets.
The needs of the larger group should be considered first and foremost. The essence of your hosting responsibilities is to create a safe container where everyone is having fun and making friends. Technically, all you need for a meet is a time and a place, but the intention, thought, and care that you put into tending that space is what can make the difference between something that's okay or good and something that is great.
Remember, ask for help, know what your limits are, take breaks, and you got this. Now let's go on to the first step,
finding a location. The first step to finding a good spot for your meetup is to think about what needs your group might have and any place you already know of that could meet them.
There's a lot of things to consider, but maybe most importantly, what you want to do at your meet and how much money you have to spend. If you're having trouble finding locations, there's several things you can do.
You can look on Google Maps or Instagram. You can keep an eye out when you're out and about doing other things. We always plan our meets for just one single location, and that's what we'll talk about the most. If we don't cover something that you feel like you need or want to know, leave a comment down below and ask us. Some good places to check out are cafes, restaurants, locally owned shops that have alternative or cute goods, malls, parks, and community centers.
We try to prioritize businesses that are POC, women, and or queer owned, because that way any money that's spent can go back to marginalized communities.
What questions should you be asking yourself to help you narrow down a location? This might seem like a long list that we're about to go over, but a lot of them are things you're probably already considering anyway. We just want to make sure that you don't leave out anything that's critical.
The first thing that you need to think about is how many attendees are showing up. Larger groups, like around 15 people or more, can be a little difficult to hold because a lot of really cute places are also really small. And if you think there's going to be over 30 people, then you have to get really creative. You can try things like pulling on social media like Instagram or Discord to get an approximate head count, or also to source ideas for locations.
Other things we usually think about are what amenities your group might need and what kind of location would be suitable. Do you want to stay at one place, or do you want to go to multiple spots? Do you want there to be food available? Do you want to be inside or outside? Do you need extra table space, or will you need a tech setup such as speakers for activities? Are you looking for a certain aesthetic to match your meet's theme? And do you want it to be all ages?
It's good to start thinking about these details now, because failing to plan is planning to fail.
If you're looking to hold a meetup outside at a park, please be aware that public parks sometimes can still be costly to rent or reserve. Priority to the space usually goes to whoever paid the reservation fee. If you do end up snagging a table kind of first come, first serve, you might be asked to leave if someone else has a reservation for that spot. We just want to make sure that you're aware of that and proceed accordingly.
If you want to keep things free, you'll have to look for a business that can host you, or a big public area, a mall or town square, arcade, something like that that's not going to need you to reserve the space in advance, even if you have a large group. You can also check into your local libraries, because sometimes they have spaces that you can rent for free, but they can have a lot of rules about what is or isn't allowed, so make sure you read all the fine print before you sign up for that.
Before you reach out to a potential space, have a day and time in mind so that you can make sure that the location is available when you need it. It's best to reach out to venues as early as possible and get something confirmed with them if you can about 1 to 2 months in advance. Businesses are often really busy and it can take a while for them to respond. Don't be afraid to follow up with someone if it's been a week or two and you haven't heard back.
It's always helpful to visit potential venues at least one time before the event, just so you can get a lay of the land. There's lots of things that you might want to take note of, such as where the bathroom is located. Do you need a code to use the bathrooms? Are they gender neutral or gendered? Is it single stall? Are they accessible? And so forth.
We also ask ourselves, is the space suitable for someone using a mobility aid? For example, do you need to go up any number of steps in order to get inside to the space? We'll get into this more when we talk about accessibility in a little bit. You should also take note of the food and beverage options and if they can meet various dietary needs. All of these considerations will make your meet better, and it shows that you care about the community that you're trying to build.
Reserving your location. Now that you have some possible options, it's time to get your location booked. Reach out to your top choice and see if they're available to hosting you on your preferred date. We usually try calling them or reaching out on Instagram, but if you don't hear back, sometimes it's better to literally just go there in person and talk to someone. You can often ask to talk to a manager if one is available. They can usually help you out with a reservation. Introduce yourself to your point of contact ahead of time. That's really useful, because then day of, you'll know who to talk to if you have any questions.
If your first choice can't or won't accommodate you, just move on to the next one and just keep trying until you find a place that's excited to have you. Also, if you're going to a mall or some other large place, like an arcade, you probably don't need to let them know in advance that you're going to be there. But if you're going to a cafe or a small business, please let them know ahead of time. A lot of small businesses or cafes can only hold 20 to 30 people maximum, and they'll need to be able to manage your entire group plus their regular customers for the day. So it's just really nice to give them a heads up ahead of time. Also, sometimes businesses we've worked with has actually put out little reserved cards on our tables so that it guarantees that we have a nice spot to sit at, which is really extra nice.
Once you've secured your reservation or chosen your public meetup location, make a mental or an actual note of anything you'll need to do with the place before the day of the meet. It's good to check in with your venue the week of the meet, just to make sure that they remember you're coming. And if you haven't done it already, please introduce yourself to management or whoever is going to be your point of contact and ask any questions that you still have.
If you'll need to set up any kind of tech or AV equipment, test out your setup before the meetup if at all possible. That way you aren't scrambling with the tech setup while people are waiting on the day of and you're probably a little bit nervous. It's better to do a test run beforehand.
Now, on to the topic we are most passionate about, accessibility. If you want to ensure that all kinds of people can come to your meets, then you absolutely have to have accessibility at the top of your mind while you're doing all of your planning. It can be difficult to meet every single need for every single person, but it's good to hit as many as you reasonably can.
Be open to feedback, set your ego aside, and commit to doing better. Don't overpromise what you can or can't do, and if you can't reasonably accommodate something, explain why and try and find a solution together. There's no shame in asking for help, and others in the community can even help to find a solution for tough situations.
One of the top ways to easily accommodate a lot of people is to make sure that your meet is accessible to folks who are using mobility aids, as in, like, literally accessible, as in, like, can they make it into the building? Also, if you're going to be going to multiple places for your meetup, you want to make sure that there's a clear path to get from place to place. Once you do have your place, you need to make sure that there's enough space for people to physically get around. Is there space to get between tables? Can they access the bathroom? Can they get to activities? And are there places for them to sit?
Wheelchair users need to be able to pull their wheelchair up to the table and sit with the group. For people with other mobility aids, they need to be able to maneuver into the seat easily and have some empty space next to them for their equipment to go. You might need to move some chairs or tables around to make space. And when I say you, I mean literally you. You need to keep an eye out for anyone that's using an aid and offer to help them if they need it. We let people maintain their independence and do things for themselves, but sometimes it is nice to have an extra set of hands to help out. You let the person using the aid determine and lead what that looks like.
Restrooms should have space inside the stall and around the toilet that's enough for a wheelchair to maneuver around in. The toilet should be high enough that someone can easily transfer from a chair to the toilet as well. Grab bars can also be helpful. Any walkways should be wide and easy to maneuver, and that's one that we've actually flubbed a little bit by holding meets in places that were a little too small, so we're both actively working on finding places where that's more accommodating for the future. Additionally, if you see someone having trouble making their way through the space, you can ask people to politely step to the side so that they can get through.
Sensory overwhelm is a given in any large group setting. So if you have a lot of people coming, it's hard to reduce this. However, you can try and find a venue that won't play loud music while you're there, or at least turn it down while your group is there. For a lot of neurodivergent people, myself included, loud music and talking at the same time is a special kind of nightmare. Having an area that is quiet and low sensory, what I mean by that is having dim lights, quiet or no conversation, no strong smells, no snacks happening. Having an area that can accommodate all of that is nice for larger events. If you can find a venue where it's safe to walk around outside, that can also be a good strategy for giving people a space where they can go and have a break.
If your meetup is going to be at a place that serves food and or drinks, definitely try to find somewhere that can meet different dietary needs or allergies. The main ones that we look for are vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, and also animal protein, because there's also people that can't eat vegetarian or vegan food. It can be difficult to account for full safety because of cross-contamination if someone's severely allergic, but you can only do your best. If you're doing some kind of potluck where lots of people are bringing different foods, please make sure everybody brings either the packaging that the item came in, if they're just bringing like chips or something, or if they cook something themselves, then a full written out ingredients list. That way, anybody that has any needs can check that for themselves and make sure that they know it's safe for them to eat.
As we mentioned in the beginning of the video, we're pretty anti-capitalist for fashionistas. We also know what it's like to be part of the J-fashion community with pretty much no money. We never want money to be an issue at any of our events, and so we never charge for anything that we do. We also don't host markets or other events where exchange of goods and services is the central activity of that event. We try to make sure that things are accessible by public transit and that they have at least one menu item for $5 or under.
Having events where money is exchanged is a totally valid option, but it can make it inaccessible for people that don't have money to exchange. One thing you can do is something called No One Turned Away for Lack of Funds, or NOTAFLOF, or Give As You Are Able, but Always Give Something. GAYAABAGS.
Best kind of bag.
Those policies for entry fees can really help people that don't have money, and if you're doing a market, then you can always encourage vendors to have things in a wide range of prices.
Another thing we've started doing is having a trinket box at every meet. Our first Decora Day event is the first time that we had the trinket box, and it's kind of turned into a full-on free pile at this point. If you do have a market or a swap meet, having a free stuff table is a great option. Not only does it then help the community of people get things for free, but it also keeps things out of Greedwill and landfills. It's like a J-fashion buy nothing. Be sure to coordinate, though, who's going to take care of any items left over at the end of the swap before you start the event.
Being accessible also means being COVID conscious. A lot of people are immunocompromised, just have a bad immune system, or don't want to get sick. So requiring or strongly encouraging masks at your events can ensure that people who often can't get to other people's events due to a lack of precautions can actually make it to yours. One thing to note is there are also people that can't wear a mask due to other disabilities, such as wearing a mask makes their jaw dislocate because of a joint condition. So be sure to leave space for people that have actual reasons to not wear a mask. One way that we accommodate all of that is to not require, but we do strongly encourage masks at all of our events.
Planning the meet. If you're having a mixer type of meetup, then there's not a ton of logistics for the meet itself. However, if you're planning on having any sort of activities, you need to prepare all of those in advance. So you'll need to think about any possible supplies that you'll need. Are you going to have your attendees bring their own, or are you going to both get the supplies and buy them yourself? If it is an activity, is it messy? If so, you might want to check with your venue just to make sure that they're okay with that. And any mess that you do make, just make sure you clean up every little scrap, every little bead, every little speck of glitter, because it is a courtesy to the place that's hosting you to clean up your own mess.
If you're going to have someone performing, like a local idol group, make sure you talk with them first to figure out the logistics of playing music and anything else they're going to need. Make sure they'll either be bringing it themselves or work with the venue if they have AV equipment available.
If you want to have a raffle or a contest of some kind, we often do, you'll need a prize. You can either go out and buy something, you could dig around in your stash and see if there's anything in there you could give away, or you could have local businesses or community members donate things. We've had some cool local businesses donate things like nail sets or services, as well as a little homemade trinkets bundle. It's nice to work with local businesses when you can.
For the raffle, you'll also need materials to pick the winner. We cut up a bunch of little slips of paper, we have a few pens, and then we have a little drawstring bag that is where all the people write their name on the slip, put it in, and then we got it all ready so that when we actually do the raffle, we just pick people's names out and then announce them. So it makes it pretty easy. If you don't want to do that, there's a couple of other options we've thought of that we haven't tested out because that way just works for us. But we thought you could use an app on your phone and just go around and have people put their name in it. But then you'd have to make sure you got around to everybody and put all their names in, so that might only work for a small group. Or you could have a notebook and on each line write a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Everybody writes their name next to a number, and then you use a random number generator to pick numbers, and whoever's on that line would be the winner.
If you're going to go to multiple locations for your meet, there's some extra things you're going to need to think about. You'll want to post the schedule of when exactly or approximately you'll be at each location before the meetup happens, and then you'll want to maybe have a plan for posting updates to social media like Discord or Instagram for every time you switch a location, just so that folks that didn't make it at the start of the meetup can still join in at any point.
Definitely take time to run through everything that's going to happen for your meet in your mind and jot down any details that you'll need to remember. Also, our number one tip is probably the less complicated you make your meets, the easier they are to run. Promotion.
You can start teasing your event on social media or by word of mouth before you actually have all of the details figured out. We usually will announce the approximate date, time, and theme, and then we'll leave the location TBD until we've actually confirmed it. Once we've done that, we go full on with the promoting.
We create a flyer for Instagram, and then we put the event information in the events channel in our Discord, because that's just what works for us. Glitz makes our flyers using a few phone apps, PixArt, Line Camera, and PicCollage, all of which are free but still have a lot of good customization options. If you're not graphically inclined, that's okay. You can ask a friend or just go for it anyway.
It doesn't have to be the most amazing graphic that the internet has ever seen. It just needs to be legible and have all the important details. Date, time, address, and a map if needed. Neon prefers using their own photos or art for the background of the flyers, but you can also search for fun backgrounds on Pinterest. For example, Neon once took a photo of a bunch of accessories. We used that as our background for a flyer, and then we put text on top of it and all the details. A thicker face text with high contrast between the text and the background of the flyer makes it the easiest to read.
In the caption of your Instagram post, make sure you share all of the details, even if they're already in the flyer, because some people might not be able to see a graphic for some reason, or they might use a screen reader. You can also use this space to add in any extra details, like if masks are required, other rules, anything that you need to add about the venue or activities you're doing, all that kind of thing. When you make your post, tag the venue that you're going to be having the event at, and be sure to thank them because a lot of work actually goes into hosting a big group.
If you are sharing on social media, try and get people to share it to their stories. If anyone tags you and posts about you or onto their stories, it's nice to reshare that. And if you have the time to add a little message, people like to be seen and appreciated in that way, and it just fosters connections. If you do end up resharing someone, maybe someone sees that person and thinks they're cool and reaches out to them, or maybe they had spoken at a meetup once but forgot to exchange socials, and then you can help kind of connect your community members to each other.
If you're planning on having more of a recurring group like Harajuku PDX, it's probably best to create a separate account for you to post your events on. We also recommend having community agreements and rules. This can create a safe container for your group, and it can also help deter trolls just by being posted. It can also help marginalized people feel like they can come to your events because sometimes people need to see what you stand for publicly posted. Feel free to copy from ours if you don't want to write yours from scratch.
Event day! Yay! It's time for your meetup. Try to get to the venue 30 to 60 minutes early if you can, especially if you have anything to set up. Once you're at the venue, find your point of contact, whether that's a manager or someone else, just to let them know you're there, and thank them because a lot of work goes into hosting groups. Get yourself a snack, a drink, and tip well on anything that you get. Neon and I select places that we know that we enjoy the food and often even get like to go so that we have dinner leftovers, because hosting community meetups is also a lot of work and it's a good way that we can take care of ourselves.
During the event, it's good to keep in mind that although you do want to have fun while you're there, you are a host first and foremost and need to make sure to attend to your host duties. This can look like greeting everybody that comes in, not just your friends, and making sure that everybody is having a good time as best as you can. If you see people that seem shy or are new and kind of sitting by themselves, be sure to go up and introduce yourself to those folks and see if they want to come join in to the rest of the group. You can offer for them to sit next to you or at the table with everybody else, explain what activities are going on and so forth. Do remember, there are some people that do just like to kind of sit off to the side and quietly observe, and that's totally okay too.
You also need to be available in case someone needs something or something weird or bad happens at the event. In general, you'll just want to keep an eye on things throughout the event because sometimes people are afraid to ask for help or if they need something. And this is something you'll be able to start to get a better feel for once you've hosted events for a while.
If you do have activities or some kind of agenda, you'll likely be spending most of your time hosting and not really hanging out, especially if there's a large group. Activities need to be attended to and monitored. It's good to kind of keep cleaning up as the event goes on so that you don't just have one giant chaotic mess going on and like a ton to clean up after everybody else is left and you're stuck there by yourself. Also, if you're going to have a raffle, you'll need to let people know that the raffle is happening and make sure everybody gets signed up in time before you actually pick the names.
After the meet is over, be sure that you thank everyone on staff that helped you, and then try and get everything approximately back to how it was. You want to move any tables and chairs back, throw away any leftover trash, bust dishes, like wipe up any spills that happen, that kind of thing.
After the meet. After the meet, if you see people sharing stories and tagging you on Instagram about your meet, be sure to reshare those because, as we said before, it helps foster community and can help make connections for people who are at the meet. It's also good to make another post or story thanking everybody who came out and, of course, thanking the venue because they had to put up with your giant group. It's just an important thing to do. And also, it's pretty dang special when folks choose to support your event, so showing some appreciation is a kind thing to do. Problems.
Bad things can happen before, during, or after your meetup. Personally, we've had to handle multiple interpersonal conflicts, and it's some of the most difficult things we've had to do as community organizers. We've even had to ban folks sometimes, and that sucks, but it's important to keep the community safe for everyone. So learning and practicing skills in conflict resolution and boundary setting is super, super useful and helpful. Just knowing that some situations are cut and dry, but a lot of them are way more complicated than that. And so you'll need to be able to make good decisions, both on behalf of the community as a whole and just the people that are within that conflict.
Wherever you have a social media presence, make sure that people know that they can come to you and talk to you if something weird happens or someone does something that makes them uncomfortable. And when they do come to you, listen to them and believe them. That's very important. Ask them if they have some kind of resolution in mind, or if they're not sure, then you can come up with a few possible solutions together that you're comfortable with.
Some people have come to us with a situation where someone did something to make them uncomfortable, and they either didn't really want the person fully banned, or they didn't know how to proceed while still staying anonymous. These situations even stumped us, so if you don't know right away how to proceed, that's okay. Take some time, think about it, reach out to a friend or a mentor. You can even reach out to us as well if you need support on something like that.
Phew. So that's all we got for now. We know this is probably a lot of information to take in, so like I said in the beginning, we've got a Google Doc. We put chapters in this for you to refer to different parts if you need to. And like Glitz said, we're always available to answer questions. You can reach out to us on our Decora Daddies Instagram, the Harajuku Meet PDX Instagram, either of our personal Instagrams or on our Discord. And the links for all of that are below, as well as on our main channel page.
Thanks for watching our first big video, kiddos. It would really mean a lot to us if you would like this video and subscribe to our channel. If there's anything else you want us to make videos on, let us know in the comments. We're still just figuring all of this out. We would love more ideas on what you want to see from us.
We love you all. We believe in you. Even if you're scared or overwhelmed, that's okay. We know you have the skills to put on amazing meetups.
We're so glad you're a part of our fashion family. There's a whole group of fashion friends waiting to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.